A mother is fighting for justice after her disabled son was left to die in his caretaker's steaming hot car. Now, she says the care center didn't even call her to let her know the man had died.
His mother is now taking legal action.
CBS 2's Nicole Comstock is live in Ontario with this heart-wrenching story. Nicole?
That's right, and that man's mother says her son was her everything, and she thought she was getting him the best care possible.
Every time I talk about it, I cry.
It's excruciating for Irene Melendez to think about how her oldest son slipped away from the world.
That particular day, it was like 110 or 112 outside. So my son fried to death.
51-year-old Timothy Cortinas died inside a hot car in West Covina back in August. He was developmentally disabled and only spoke a few words. So when he was left in a car outside his care home driver's personal residence for 5 hours on that summer evening, his mother says he couldn't save himself.
The guy forgot to drop him off.
Tuesday, Melendez filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Timothy's care home, Holy Family Children's Care, as well as the Easter Seals and the San Gabriel Pomona Regional Center. It alleges negligent hiring, neglect of a dependent adult, and false imprisonment. When we asked the San Gabriel Regional Center about Timothy's death, they said they could not comment on their clients. The other two organizations have not yet returned our messages.
She wants positive changes to come of this, and I think she wants to know and she deserves to know what happened.
West Coast trial lawyers and Valiant Law are representing the family. They say the care home called authorities within hours of Timothy not coming back from his day program. But they say the care home did not have their new driver's phone number to call him.
When someone who's disabled is left entrusted with these individuals, you need to have some sort of protocol in place and procedure.
They say it appears the care home had no policy for calling family in such a situation. Melendez says she learned of her son's death the following morning when she got a call from the morgue.
I called her up and I told her, I found out Timmy's dead. Why didn't you call me? She says, I didn't know what to say.
And Irene says the care home did eventually reach out to her to sincerely apologize for what happened to her son. In Ontario, Nicole Comstock, CBS 2 News.
A motorcyclist was killed tonight after a collision with a car in Winnetka. It happened on Van Owen in Oakdale in the last couple hours. LAPD says the crash was not a hit and run.
Breaking news, Hurricane Michael just became a Category 4 storm as it gets even closer to the Florida Panhandle.
And taking a live look now at the Gulf Shores, Alabama, where the wind has been kicking up all night long. Florida's on alert tonight.
That's for sure. CBS 2's Jeff DeWynn is here too now. He joins us with these last-minute preparations.
Certainly, Pat and Jeff. And tonight, it appears that Michael will be one of the strongest storms to make landfall in the state of Florida. If this cruise ship looks like it took a pounding from Hurricane Michael off the coast of Cuba, things are expected to get more violent for Florida in a matter of hours. Which is why business and homeowners in the Panhandle are working against the clock to prepare for the massive storm churning off the Gulf Coast. In Cedar Key, an emergency siren warned people to get out as an evacuation order went into effect. Nick Gillum and his family from Kentucky are cutting their vacation short.
If it was just the adults, we would have rode it out, but, you know, got to be safe since they're with us.
The forecast calls for a storm surge of about 12 feet in some areas. Florida's governor didn't mince words about what's ahead.
This storm is dangerous, and if you don't follow warnings from officials, this storm could kill you.
In Madison, Florida, ambulances have gassed up so that they're prepared to respond. Fuel has been in short supply while store shelves have been emptied. Despite that, Jimmy Boone is staying put. He's been living in a FEMA trailer since a wildfire burned his home in June.
I don't know how much more can we stand, you know. We done had the fire, now we're getting a hurricane, and people done help us all they can. And my God, it's just, I don't know. What's next?
And guys, Michael is expected to make landfall sometime around tomorrow afternoon. Now back to you, Jeff.
Okay, Jeff, thank you so much. And of course, our team coverage continues right now with CBS 2's Garth Kemp.
And he joins us now with the latest on the storm's path. Garth?
Yeah, there it is at about 180 miles just south of Panama City. That looks like the path. It's going to take a slight jog tonight. It is stuck between a ridge off to the east and a trough just coming over the central part of the U.S. and starting to sag south. The eye wall not complete, however, at this point in time. It's been picking up some dry air on the southwest quadrant of this, but nonetheless, damage is done right now. This thing continues to move at around 12 miles an hour. right towards Panama City. It will jog later this evening. It should make landfall about 15 hours. If it's moving at 12 miles an hour, just do the math. That'll take us out to around 6 o'clock or so time zone for the central part, which is towards the Panhandle. It starts to drop into the central time zone. So we do have the warnings up from Mobile all the way down in the Tampa. Those are hurricane warnings. A lot of rain with this, strong storm surge, and this bad boy is moving fast. These things, this one, I promise you, the winds will be an issue as it'll hit probably at a Cat 4 tomorrow, and it will be destructive in nature. We'll keep you updated on that. We will also have our weather coming up in a little bit. Back to you guys.
All right, we'll see you in a bit. Well, the frightening scene in Placentia where two SUVs crashed into a Goodwill store. Police say an elderly woman in a Chevy Suburban hit the gas pedal instead of the brake. She plowed into another car and they both hit the store.
I felt the impact and it was really, really scary.
I'm a little shook up, nervous-wise, but physically there's nothing wrong.
Tonight, crews are still at that crash scene cleaning up the mess. The elderly driver and several other people suffered only minor injuries.
The local typhus outbreak is spreading. Officials tonight say there are 9 cases in downtown LA, 59 in LA County, 20 cases in Pasadena, and 12 in Long Beach. Typhus is a flea-borne illness that makes humans sick and not animals. Feral rats, possums, and cats can carry it. Officials suggest getting rid of fleas from your pets. Don't leave pet food outdoors, and don't feed any wild animals.
Well, a sad day for the Chargers family as the team announced the passing of owner Alex Spanos.
And though he has turned over control of the team to his children years ago, his influence never diminished.
Jim Hill joins us now with more on this man's extraordinary life. Jim.
And because of all the things that he has done, maybe there should be a spot for him in Canton, Ohio.
Exactly.
At the Hall of Fame, that is for sure.
Yeah.
When you think about it, the NFL lost a legendary member of its community today, as well as a link to a bygone era. Alex Spanos was a self-made man who leaves an impressive legacy others can only hope to emulate. From a young age, Alex Spanos had one dream above all others, to own and operate an NFL franchise. In 1984, after 3 decades of building a real estate empire from scratch, his wish became a reality when he bought the controlling interest in the San Diego Chargers, leading the team for more than 20 years before handing it off to his son Dean and his grandsons. And that's not bad for the son of Greek immigrants who got his start in business, making and selling sandwiches to migrant farm workers in California's Central Valley. The Chargers were a perfect fit for the tight-knit Spanos family, and Alex was the face of the franchise, a kind of genial presence on the sidelines every Sunday. And at the same time, he could be forceful and competitive. His stated desire was a world championship for San Diego, though the closest he came was a loss to the 49ers in Super Bowl 29. Spanos was well regarded and respected for his generosity, putting millions into rebuilding schools and saving landmarks in his hometown of Stockton as well as San Diego. Now, never one to give in to anything, he survived extensive heart surgery and colon cancer in his later years. Spanos leaves as one of the last links to a different generation of NFL owners, and his greatest legacy just may be that he ran the Chargers the way he wanted, as a pure family affair. In a statement, the Spanos family said, quote, Alex was the embodiment of the American dream and leaves behind a legacy of passion and hard work. We have no words that can adequately express our sadness with his passing. His wife, Faye, passed away a couple of months ago. They had been married 70 years. They had 15 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. Alex Spanos was 95 years old. And as great a man as he was on the field, he was an even better person off it. Pat, back to you now.
All right, thank you, Jim. And still ahead here on CBS2 News at 11, a mother's crusade.
She was branded starvation diets.
The Dynasty star who brought down a cult all to save her daughter.
Plus, California has billions of dollars in unclaimed cash. Some of it could be yours. The simple way to find out if there's a small windfall waiting for you.